If I ask you a simple question today, I want you to answer it honestly, not aloud, but deep inside your own heart. When you wake up in the morning, do you know where you are going in life? Or are you simply waking up because the alarm rings and the world expects you to move? Many young minds believe that time will decide their future, that age will bring clarity, that one day direction will appear automatically. But time does not give direction. Time only moves. If you move without a dream, you are not progressing, you are drifting. And drifting may feel comfortable, but it silently carries you away from the shore you never chose. I have met thousands of students whose eyes are full of talent, energy, and intelligence, yet their lives feel heavy and confused. They study hard. They work long hours. They scroll endlessly. They compare constantly. Yet inside they feel empty. The reason is not lack of ability. It is lack of direction. A ship without a destination is not powerful even if it has the strongest engine. In the same way, a mind without a dream may be busy, but it will never be fulfilled. You may be walking every day, but if you do not know where you are going, every road will exhaust you. Let me sit beside you for a moment, not as a teacher above you, not as a speaker talking at you, but as a mentor who understands your confusion. I want to talk to you about dreams, not the kind you see when you sleep, but the kind that refuses to let you sleep. By the end of this journey together, I want you to feel lighter, clearer, and stronger. I want you to understand why direction matters more than speed, why clarity matters more than talent, and why even a small dream can change the entire course of your life if you hold it with discipline and courage. When I look back at my own life, I do not see a straight road filled with certainty. I see a small town by the sea, Rameswaram, where resources were limited but values were abundant. I see a childhood where luxury was absent, yet dignity was never compromised. I learned very early that dreams are not born from comfort. They are born from curiosity and purpose. As a boy, I watched the sky with wonder, not knowing exactly how, but deeply, believing that my life had a place beyond the horizon I could see. Direction did not come with privilege. It came with intent. There was a time when I carried newspapers on my bicycle to support my family. Some may look at such work and feel shame, but I never did. That phase taught me something precious. Direction is not decided by where you start, but by where you decide to go. When you have no dream, even the best education feels like pressure. But when you have a dream, even hard labor feels meaningful. The same hands that delivered newspapers later worked on rockets, not because the hands changed, but because the direction did. Many of you worry that your background is too small, your family income too limited, your school not good enough, your English not strong enough. Let me tell you something with absolute sincerity. The world does not remember where you came from. The world remembers where you reached and what values you carried along the way. When your direction is clear, obstacles do not stop you, they shape you. Without direction, even opportunities become distractions. There was a moment in my professional life that tested everything I believed in. The SLV-3 mission failed publicly. Years of work collapsed in front of the nation. The pressure was enormous, the disappointment sharp. But leadership is not revealed in success. It is revealed in response to failure. My senior took responsibility and gave me confidence instead of blame. That moment taught me that direction is sustained not by ego, but by resilience. When your dream is strong, failure does not end the journey. It educates you for the next step. I have always believed and shared with young minds that a dream transforms into thought, and thought transforms into action. But this chain breaks when there is no dream. Without direction, thoughts become scattered. Actions become random. Effort becomes exhausting. This is why many talented students feel tired even before life truly begins. They are running without knowing why they are running. In my writings, including Wings of Fire, I spoke about how vision gives meaning to discipline. Discipline without vision feels like punishment. Vision without discipline feels like fantasy. But when vision and discipline walk together, ordinary lives become extraordinary contributions. You do not need to dream of becoming famous or rich. You need to dream of becoming useful, capable, and responsible. Direction is not about ego. It is about service. When I addressed young people across the nation, I often sensed a common fear, the fear of being average. Let me tell you something gently but firmly. Being average is not the problem. Staying average because you never chose A direction is the real loss. Excellence is not an accident. It is the result of clarity, commitment, and consistency over time. You do not wake up one day and become exceptional. You wake up every day with a reason to improve. Your future does not need you to be perfect. It needs you to be purposeful. If today you feel confused, that is not weakness. Confusion is a signal that your mind is searching for meaning. Do not silence that search with distractions. Sit with it. Reflect. Ask yourself what kind of life would make you feel proud 10 years from now, not in the eyes of others, but in your own conscience. A nation's strength is not measured by its buildings or weapons, but by the clarity of its youth. When young minds have direction, society moves forward. When young minds drift, society stagnates. This is why I always believed that igniting young minds is the most powerful resource on earth. A directed mind becomes a force of nature. You may not find your dream in one day. That is all right. Direction is sometimes discovered step by step. But you must start by deciding that your life is not accidental. You are here for a reason. Your existence carries responsibility. The moment you accept this, confusion begins to reduce and courage begins to rise. So today, do not ask life to give you direction. Ask yourself what you are willing to stand for, work for, and sacrifice for. When you choose even a small direction with sincerity, life aligns itself around your effort. A dream does not make life easy, but it makes life meaningful. And meaning gives you the strength to walk even when the path is uncertain. As you continue listening, I want you to understand something very important. Direction is not a gift given to a few lucky people. It is a decision taken quietly by those who refuse to live accidentally. When I interacted with students from different corners of the country, I saw brilliance everywhere, but clarity only in a few. Talent is common, but direction is rare. And rarity always creates value. The moment you decide where you want to go, your mind starts filtering noise. Distractions lose power. Effort gains meaning. In my early years of learning, I was not surrounded by advanced laboratories or world-class facilities. What I had was a deep respect for learning and an unshakable curiosity. I learned that education is not about collecting degrees. It is about building direction. A degree without direction becomes a decoration. Knowledge without purpose becomes burden. But when learning is aligned with a dream, even the smallest lesson feels significant. Every book becomes a guide. Every teacher becomes a compass. Many of you are studying today without knowing why you are studying. You memorize, you reproduce, you forget. This creates frustration and self-doubt. You start believing you are not intelligent enough. But intelligence is not the issue, direction is. When you know why you are learning something, your mind absorbs faster, remembers longer, and applies better. Direction turns effort into progress. I often spoke about vision for the nation because personal dreams and national progress are deeply connected. A young person who has direction does not think only about personal success. They think about contribution. When your dream is connected to improving lives, innovation, ethics, or knowledge, your energy multiplies. This is why I encouraged young minds to dream beyond jobs and salaries. Jobs give income, but dreams give impact. During my work in science and technology, I observed something quietly powerful. Teams with clear direction worked with harmony even under pressure. Teams without direction struggled even with resources. The same truth applies to your life. If you do not decide what kind of human being you want to become, the world will decide for you, and it will not always be kind. In Ignited Minds, I shared my belief that youth energy, when guided by purpose, can transform a nation. But unguided energy becomes frustration. This frustration then turns into anger, comparison, and hopelessness. I do not want that for you. You are too valuable to waste your years reacting to life instead of designing it. Let me speak to your fear of failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the most honest teacher life offers. But failure hurts deeply when you have no direction, because then pain feels meaningless. When you have a dream, failure still hurts, but it also instructs. It shows you what to improve, where to adapt, and how to grow. Direction gives failure dignity. I have seen students who change goals every few months, not because they are exploring, but because they are afraid to commit. Commitment feels risky, but drifting is far more dangerous. When you do not commit to a direction, you commit to confusion. Exploration is healthy when guided by curiosity. Escaping is harmful when driven by fear. Be honest with yourself about which one you are practicing. Your background does not define your destination unless you allow it. 2. I came from a modest family, but my parents gave me something far greater than wealth. They gave me faith in effort, integrity, and humility. These values became my inner compass. Direction does not always come from knowing the final destination. Sometimes it comes from knowing the values you will never compromise on. Values create direction even when the road is unclear. In turning points, I reflected on moments where choices mattered more than circumstances. Life continuously places you at turning points, but you only recognize them when you are conscious of direction. Otherwise, they pass unnoticed. A directionless life misses its own opportunities. Many of you feel pressure to choose quickly, to succeed early, to match someone else's timeline. Let me release you from that burden. Life is not a race against others. It is a journey toward becoming your best version. Direction is not about speed. It is about alignment. Slow progress in the right direction is far more powerful than fast movement in the wrong one. You may ask, how do I find my dream when everything feels uncertain? Start by observing what problems disturb you deeply. What injustice makes you restless? What creation excites you? What knowledge pulls you repeatedly? Dreams leave clues. Pay attention. Silence distractions. Listen inward. Direction often whispers before it speaks loudly. When you choose a direction, your life does not suddenly become easy. In fact, challenges may increase, but your strength increases faster. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? That shift alone changes your entire relationship with life. I want you to remember this quietly powerful truth. If you have no dream, you have no direction. And if you have no direction, effort becomes exhaustion, success becomes accidental, and life feels incomplete. But the moment you choose a dream rooted in purpose, even the ordinary days begin to feel meaningful. And meaning is the fuel that carries you through the longest journeys. As we move deeper into this conversation, I want you to feel something important rising within you, not urgency, not pressure, but responsibility. Responsibility toward your own potential. When I spoke with young people, I often sensed that they were waiting for permission to dream, waiting for approval, waiting for certainty. But life does not send invitations. It responds to courage. Direction begins the moment you stop waiting and start deciding. There was a simple principle that guided me throughout my journey. Whatever work I was given, I tried to do it with excellence and sincerity, regardless of how small it seemed. Direction is not always about choosing a grand goal on day one. It is about choosing seriousness in whatever you do today. When your daily actions align with growth, direction slowly reveals itself. Many students fail not because they choose the wrong dream, but because they treat their present casually. I want to speak directly to your fear of being ordinary. Society quietly teaches you that only extraordinary success is valuable. But true greatness is built on ordinary discipline, practiced every day with extraordinary intent. Direction is not about dramatic moments. It is about daily alignment. When your habits match your values, your life starts moving in a clear direction even before results appear. In my years of working with scientists, engineers, and young researchers, I noticed something consistent. Those who had direction asked better questions. They were not satisfied with surface-level answers. Curiosity sharpened their focus. Confusion decreased as clarity increased. When your mind knows what it is searching for, learning becomes joyful instead of stressful. Direction transforms pressure into purpose. You live in a time of constant comparison. Social media shows you highlights of other people's lives, making you question your own progress. Let me tell you something with deep care. Comparison steals direction. The moment you measure your life by someone else's journey, you lose sight of your own path. Every individual is born with a unique capacity to serve. Your responsibility is not to copy success, but to discover significance. I have always believed that youth should aim not only for personal achievement, but for national development. In India 2020, I spoke about transforming our nation through technology, education, and ethical leadership. But that vision does not begin in government offices. It begins in classrooms, homes, and quiet personal decisions. A nation moves forward when its youth move with direction. Let me address your confusion about career choices. Many of you feel trapped between passion and practicality. You worry about income, stability, and social expectations. These concerns are real. But direction does not require you to ignore reality. It requires you to integrate reality with purpose. A dream must be grounded, but it must not be suffocated. Choose a path that allows you to grow your skills while keeping your inner fire alive. I often say that small aim is a crime, but small beginnings are not. Never confuse the two. Aim high in values, contribution, and integrity, even if you start small in position or resources. Direction is defined by where you are heading, not by how impressive your starting point looks to others. There will be days when motivation disappears. Do not panic. Motivation is emotional. Direction is intentional. On days when you feel tired, direction carries you. This is why dreams must be supported by discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. When you respect your future, you act responsibly in the present. Some of you fear that choosing one direction means closing all other doors. Let me assure you, direction does not imprison you. It liberates you from chaos. A clear direction allows flexibility within purpose. A confused mind jumps between options without depth. A directed mind explores with focus. Depth creates mastery. Mastery creates confidence. I want you to understand the power of self-belief rooted in effort. Confidence does not come from applause. It comes from knowing that you are doing the right things consistently. When your actions align with your dream, self-doubt slowly loses its grip. Direction silences the noise of insecurity. Life will test you. People may question your choices. Results may take time. During these moments, remember that direction is not validated by immediate success. It is validated by inner peace. When you know you are walking towards something meaningful, patience becomes easier. Sacrifice feels purposeful. If today your dream feels unclear, begin with intention. Decide to grow. Decide to learn deeply. Decide to serve sincerely. These decisions create a direction even before a specific goal appears. Direction often forms before destination becomes visible. I want you to pause and ask yourself gently, not with fear, but with honesty. If your life continues exactly the same way for the next 5 years, will you be proud of the direction you are moving in? If the answer troubles you, that discomfort is not your enemy, it is your guide. Remember this with quiet strength. A dream is not a luxury. It is a necessity for direction. Without it, life becomes reaction. With it, life becomes creation. And creation is the highest expression of human potential. Now I want to speak to you at a deeper level, where motivation is no longer about excitement, but about truth. Direction is not something you announce to the world. It is something you practice when no one is watching. Many young people speak beautifully about dreams, but their daily choices speak in a different language. Your life always moves in the direction of your strongest habits, not your loudest words. This is why clarity of direction must reflect in how you spend your time, your energy, and your attention. There were long periods in my life when recognition was absent and results were invisible, but I was never lost because direction was present. When you have direction, loneliness does not scare you because you know why you are walking alone for a while. When you lack direction, even crowds cannot comfort you. Direction gives you emotional stability. It allows you to stay calm in uncertainty and humble in achievement. Many of you feel overwhelmed by choices. Too many career paths, too many opinions, too many expectations. Let me simplify something for you. Direction does not mean knowing every step in advance. It means knowing the reason behind your steps. When the reason is clear, the route can change without shaking your confidence. Flexibility becomes strength when anchored to purpose. I want to address the fear of failure that quietly controls many decisions. Fear makes you choose safety over growth. Fear makes you settle early. Fear makes you doubt your own dreams before the world even tests them. But fear is not your enemy. Fear is a sign that you care. The problem arises when fear replaces direction. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that direction matters more than comfort. In my journey, failures taught me humility and patience. Success taught me responsibility. Both were necessary. But without direction, both success and failure can mislead you. Success without direction can inflate ego. Failure without direction can destroy confidence. Direction keeps you grounded in both moments. I have always encouraged students to dream of contributing to society, not just competing within it. Competition sharpens skill, but contribution gives meaning. When your dream includes service, your direction becomes powerful. You stop asking what you will get and start asking what you will give. This shift changes your entire relationship with work, learning, and life. Let me talk to you about discipline in a gentle way. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction. Truth, discipline is freedom. It frees you from regret, from wasted potential, from scattered effort. When you wake up with direction, discipline becomes natural. You no longer need constant motivation because your actions are aligned with something larger than temporary motion. There will be moments when you question your own worth, when progress feels slow, when others seem ahead. In those moments, remember that growth is not always visible. Seeds grow silently before breaking the surface. Direction allows you to trust the unseen process. Impatience is reduced when purpose is strong. I want to speak to students who feel average grades, average confidence, average circumstances. Let me tell you something important. Average beginnings can still lead to extraordinary destinations when direction is clear. History is shaped not by those who start with advantage, but by those who persist with intent. Your life does not need to follow someone else's definition of success. Direction is personal. For some, it may be innovation. For some, education. For some, healing. For some, leadership. What matters is not the label, but the sincerity. A focused, ordinary person will always outperform a confused, talented one. When you align your direction with learning, learning never stops. You stop seeing education as a phase and start seeing it as a lifelong companion. This mindset alone keeps you relevant, adaptable, and confident in a changing world. Direction future-proofs your life. I want you to understand that clarity grows with action. Do not wait to feel fully confident before moving. Confidence follows commitment. Take small steps. Explore deeply. Reflect honestly. Direction sharpens through engagement, not overthinking. There is something sacred about choosing responsibility over comfort. When you choose direction, you choose growth. Growth is rarely comfortable, but it is always meaningful. Comfort without direction slowly weakens the spirit. Challenge with direction strengthens it. One day, when you look back, you will not measure your life by how easy it was, but by how meaningful it became. Direction ensures that your struggles were not wasted, your efforts were not random, and your time was respected. Hold this truth close to your heart. You do not need to have everything figured out today, but you do need to decide that your life will stand for something. That decision is the birth of direction. And once direction is born, even uncertainty begins to cooperate with your growth. Now we reach a moment where I want you to stop listening passively and start feeling actively. Direction is not an idea meant only to inspire you for a few minutes. It is a force meant to reorganize your life. When direction enters your mind, it begins to rearrange your priorities. Some things that once felt important slowly lose their grip. Some responsibilities you once avoided start calling you forward. This inner shift is the real beginning of growth. I want to speak honestly about distraction. Distraction is not always entertainment. Sometimes distraction is comfort. Sometimes it is routine. Sometimes it is doing what everyone else is doing simply because it feels safe. Direction demands courage because it asks you to question your patterns. It asks you to look at your day and ask whether your actions are building your future or merely filling time. This question, when asked sincerely, can change your life. Many students ask me how to stay focused in a noisy world. My answer is simple but not easy. Focus grows when direction is strong. If your dream is weak, distractions will always win. But if your dream is meaningful, you will naturally protect your time. You will learn to say no without guilt and yes with commitment. Direction teaches you what deserves your attention. Let me address the pressure you feel from society. Parents, relatives, friends, and systems all have opinions about what you should become. Some advice comes from love. Some comes from fear. You must learn to listen respectfully but decide independently. Direction does not mean rebellion. It means responsibility for your own life. When you choose your direction consciously, you stop blaming others for your dissatisfaction. There is a quiet strength that comes from alignment. When your thoughts, actions, and values point in the same direction, inner conflict reduces Anxiety decreases. Confidence stabilizes. You may still face uncertainty, but it no longer paralyzes you. Direction gives your mind a center, a place to return to when confusion rises. I want to talk about effort. Many people work hard but feel unrewarded. The problem is not effort, it is alignment. Effort without direction is like pouring water into sand. Direction gives effort a container. Suddenly, your hard work begins to accumulate instead of disappear. Progress becomes visible over time. You may wonder whether it is too late to find direction. Let me answer that clearly. It is never too late to choose meaning. Age does not limit direction. Awareness creates direction. The moment you decide to live intentionally, life responds. The past does not disappear, but it stops controlling you. I have always believed that youth is not defined by age, but by mindset. A young mind is curious, courageous, and committed to growth. Direction keeps your mind young even as years pass. It keeps you learning, adapting, and contributing. Without direction, even youth feels tired. With direction, even challenges feel energizing. Now let us move towards something practical, because direction must eventually translate into daily life. You must begin by setting aside time for reflection, a few quiet minutes each day, where you ask yourself whether your actions are aligned with your future. You must develop the habit of reading, not just for exams, but for understanding. Knowledge sharpens direction. Ignorance weakens it. You must also learn the discipline of consistency. Direction is not strengthened by occasional intensity. It is strengthened by regular effort. Small steps taken daily in the same direction create unstoppable momentum. Do not underestimate the power of simple routines practiced sincerely. Surround yourself with people who respect growth. Direction is contagious. When you are around focused individuals, your own clarity improves. When you are surrounded by negativity and aimlessness, your energy drains. Choose your environment wisely. Either supports your direction or sabotages it. Learn to take responsibility for your emotions. Motivation will rise and fall. Do not build your life on feelings. Build it on values. When values guide your actions, direction remains steady even when emotions fluctuate. This emotional maturity separates those who drift from those who lead. I want you to begin measuring progress differently. Do not measure only outcomes. Measure effort, learning, and integrity. When you evaluate yourself honestly, direction becomes stronger. Self-respect grows when you know you are trying sincerely, even if results take time. As you move forward, you will face moments of doubt. This is natural. Do not interpret doubt as failure. Interpret it as a sign that you are growing beyond comfort. Return to your reason. Reconnect with your purpose. Direction is renewed every time you remember why you began. Now we are approaching the emotional core of this message. You are not here merely to survive. You are here to contribute. Your life has value beyond personal comfort. When you accept this responsibility, direction becomes non-negotiable. You no longer ask whether effort is worth it. You know it is. A nation's future is written quietly in the habits of its youth. If you choose direction, discipline, and integrity, you are not only shaping your life, you are shaping the future around you. This is not a burden, it is an honor. Hold your head high, not with arrogance, but with purpose. You do not need to know everything today. You only need to walk with intention. Direction will meet you halfway when effort is honest. Now I want to take you to the highest point of this journey. Not with noise, but with clarity. When a young person discovers direction, something extraordinary happens. Their life stops being about escape and starts becoming about creation. They stop asking how to avoid struggle and start asking how to grow through it. This shift is subtle, but it is powerful enough to change families, communities, and nations. You must understand that the future of this country is not written in policies alone. It is written in the daily decisions of its youth. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, learning over laziness, purpose over popularity, you are quietly building the nation. Nation building does not always look heroic. Often, it looks like a student studying honestly, a young professional working with integrity, a learner refusing shortcuts. Direction turns ordinary roles into extraordinary contribution. I want you to feel personally responsible, not burdened, but empowered. Responsibility is not pressure when it comes from purpose. It becomes pride. When you wake up knowing that your effort matters beyond yourself, energy rises naturally. You stop seeing yourself as small. You realize that history is shaped by individuals who chose direction when confusion was easier. There will be moments when the world feels unfair, when effort is not immediately rewarded, when noise is louder than wisdom. In those moments, remember that direction is a long-term commitment. Trees that grow strong take time. They do not rush. They deepen their roots. Your values are your roots. Your dream is your direction. Storms may come, but rooted lives do not collapse easily. I want you to imagine an India where every young mind wakes up with clarity, where students do not study out of fear, but out of purpose, where talent is guided by ethics, where ambition is balanced with compassion. This vision is not impossible. It begins with individual direction. When you change, the system begins to feel pressure to change as well. Do not underestimate your influence. Even if no one applauds you today, your consistency is creating silent impact. Younger minds watch. Peers observe. Society absorbs behavior before it absorbs speeches. When you live with direction, you become a role model without trying to be one. Let me speak one final truth with complete honesty. Life without direction slowly weakens the soul. Comfort increases, but courage decreases. Entertainment grows, but meaning shrinks. But life with direction, even when difficult, strengthens character. It builds self-respect. It gives you a story worth remembering. You were not born just to pass exams, earn salaries, or follow routines. You were born with the ability to think, create, and contribute. Direction is the bridge between your potential and your reality. Cross that bridge consciously. If today you feel lost, do not feel ashamed. Feel hopeful. Awareness is the first sign of growth. Choose a direction, even if it is imperfect. Commit to learning. Commit to discipline. Commit to values. Direction does not demand perfection. It demands sincerity. One day, years from now, when you look back at your life, you will not remember every achievement or failure. You will remember whether your life stood for something. That memory will either give you peace or regret. Choose peace by choosing direction. If this message touched something within you, do not keep it to yourself. Share it with another student who feels confused. Let clarity travel. Let purpose spread. And if you believe in building a future guided by dreams and discipline, stay connected. Because this journey is not meant to be walked alone. Remember this always and carry it quietly but firmly. If you have no dream, you have no direction. But the moment you choose a dream rooted in purpose, your direction begins. And with it, your true life starts. Before we close this journey together, I want to slow everything down and speak to you with absolute clarity. Direction is not something mystical. It is built through simple, repeated choices. Dreams do not survive on emotion alone. They survive on structure. So now, let me give you practical life lessons that can anchor your direction in daily reality. Lessons you can apply even if your circumstances are limited and your confidence feels low. First, begin every day by reminding yourself what you are working toward. It does not need to be a perfect sentence. It only needs to be honest. When your mind wakes up with intention, your day automatically gains shape. Second, protect at least 1 hour daily for deep learning. Not scrolling, not passive watching, but focused learning. Read books, study concepts, build skills. Direction grows stronger when knowledge increases. Third, practice self-discipline in small things. Wake up on time. Keep your promises to yourself. Finish what you start. Discipline is not built in big moments. It is built in ordinary ones. Fourth, stop waiting for motivation. Act first. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. On days you feel low, do the work quietly. Direction respects consistency more than emotion. Fifth, choose your environment carefully. Limit time with people who constantly complain or ridicule effort. Seek those who value growth, honesty, and learning. Your surroundings either strengthen or weaken your direction. Sixth, learn to reflect. At the end of each week, ask yourself what you learned, what you improved, and what distracted you. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Seventh, accept failure as feedback, not identity. You are not your results. You are your effort and integrity. Direction allows you to fail without losing self-respect. Eighth, keep your values non-negotiable. Success without ethics weakens society. Direction rooted in values creates trust, impact, and inner peace. Ninth, serve. Wherever you are, help others learn. share knowledge, solve problems. Service connects your dream to something larger than yourself. 10th, be patient with your growth. Do not rush your journey. Direction is a long-term commitment. Results will come when foundations are strong. Now I want to bring you to the emotional center of everything I have shared. You are not insignificant. You are not replaceable. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly at the point where a decision can change everything. The decision to stop drifting. The decision to stop living by default. The decision to choose direction. The nation you live in does not need perfect youth. It needs responsible youth. Youth who think deeply. Youth who work honestly. Youth who dream courageously. When even one young person chooses direction, a ripple begins. When millions do, history changes. Do not wait for confidence to arrive before you act. Confidence is built through action. Do not wait for clarity before you move. The clarity sharpens through movement. Do not wait for approval before you dream. Your conscience is enough. You may feel small today, but remember this. All great journeys begin quietly. Direction is silent at first. It does not announce itself. It proves itself over time through discipline, learning, and contribution. If you remember nothing else from this moment, remember this one truth. A dream is not a luxury. It is the compass of your life. Without it, effort scatters. With it, effort multiplies. I will leave you with one calm but powerful thought. Your future is not found. It is built. Built by the direction you choose today. If this message gave you clarity, share it with another student who needs it. Let this direction travel. And if you wish to continue walking this path of purpose, learning, and discipline together, stay connected. Because building a meaningful life is not a one-time decision, it is a lifelong journey. And now, as you carry this message forward, quietly, work sincerely, dream courageously, and remember every day that direction chosen with. Purpose turns an ordinary life into a meaningful legacy for yourself and for the nation.